Watching a cartoon means getting attached to that fictional world and the characters inside of it. Although they may not really exist, we still have favorites and can almost reach into the universes in these cartoons and be in the same place as these characters. Sometimes they just die unexpectedly, throwing viewers off and making it harder to watch. Today we're going to be going over the top 10 insane character deaths. Number 10. Hot Dog Water from ScoobyDoo Mystery Incorporated. Not a whole lot of people have seen this Scooby-Doo incarnations, so basically, Hot Dog Water, real name Marcy, befriended Velma and then eventually betrayed her and the rest of the gang. As the series continued, she felt guilty for going against Velma, who was her one friend that actually understood her, so she decided to help the Mystery Inc. out. She was caught by one of the bad guys, Professor Pericles, and was shot to death. Yeah, you heard that right. She had absolutely nowhere to go and met her unfortunate demise at the shots of robot minions. Of course, the actual death scene isn't shown on screen because you have to remember this is Scooby-Doo, but we did see most of her death play out up until the moment the robots opened their attached guns. When it cut to Scooby and we hear loud gunshots in the distance, you know it's all over. I think the most surprising thing about Hot Dog Water's death is that this literally happened in a Scooby-Doo cartoon. We live in a timeline where this is possible, and honestly, Mystery Inc. was one of, if not the best incarnation the show has to offer. It was willing to go to very dark places, even if it meant killing one of the characters almost on screen. Hot Dog Water may not have been the best character, and in fact she was pretty annoying actually, but seeing her die was unexpected because you'd think she would be punished in jail or something. Even though her death was reset by the end of the series through a way I won't spoil, just knowing that a person met their end in a normally kids cartoon like this is so weird to think about. Number 9. Lars from Steven Universe. Lars was one of those characters in the very beginning of the show that you look at and think, okay, why are you here? What are you going to do in the grand scheme of things? He seemed like the type of guy that would show up every so often and be a part of Steven's wacky adventures, but oh boy, things really changed. The events of the series eventually led him to Homeworld, which seemed pretty dangerous for a normal donut shop worker like him. He fought great battles, but died in the end. Steven walked up to Lars and revived him with healing powers, turning him pink, so yeah, this is another reset death. However, technically, it was still the passing on of the old Lars. He was no longer just another random worker in Beach City. This death and revival marked the point of a brand new Lars. Not only was his appearance completely different than this before, but he changed personality-wise as well. Seriously, he went from this to flying through space, leading the off-colors, and taking on enemies like Emerald. When he died on screen in Steven Universe, it was really sad to see him go. Luckily, even though the old Lars is completely gone at this point in time, new Space Pink Lars is here and ready to fight, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I welcome him completely.
Good luck catching us. We stole your fastest ship.
The engines are all set.
Twins, hyperspeed us out of here.
Right. You will not go at hyperspeed!
Bingo bongo.
Off colors!
Number 8. Chef from South Park. In the earlier seasons of South Park, the character known as Chef was always fun to watch. He was extremely inappropriate at times, even for such a wild adult cartoon like South Park, but Chef was always there to give advice and help the boys out. He was sort of a father figure to everyone, telling them what to do. And while sometimes the tips he gave weren't great, he was always willing to help out no matter what. He was the rare, good-natured character that the show needed, but unfortunately, he passed away in Season 10's premiere, The Return of Chef. The plot of the episode is that Chef returns from his long trip with the Super Adventure Club because he wants something new and exciting in his life. Eventually, he's on a bridge trying to make the decision on whether to go with Cartman, Kyle, Stan, and Kenny, or keep traveling with the Super Adventure Club. Really bad luck leads to a lightning bolt that strikes the bridge he's on, making him fall badly on rocks and break almost every bone possible. He gets impaled in the stomach when he lands on the ground, then eaten by several wild animals as his life ebbs away slowly and painfully. Of course, I'm not actually showing the death scene because I ain't trying to be demonetized or anything, but you can see it if you watch the episode yourself. Complications behind South Park and Chef's voice actor led to this death, which just made the whole situation even sadder. Number 7. Big Henry from Gravity Falls. You're lying if you say you didn't cry at the tragic tale of Gravity Falls character Big Henry. He was introduced and died immediately after in the season 2 episode The Golf War, and it was completely out of nowhere too. Mabel and Pacifica are having a mini golf competition with each other, hence the name Golf War. When they come across a hole featuring miners, the ball goes through and then there's a whole scene playing out inside. The Lilliputtons don't want to push the ball forward because a poisonous gas leak is up ahead, but then this guy named Big Henry steps up to plate to get the job done. Yeah, let's go Big Henry. He pushes the cart, presses the button, and plops down in the poisonous gas as he views a drawing of a girl who really admired him. He dies shortly after the golf ball returns to the surface. Oh my god. Now I know this whole Big Henry scene is supposed to be a joke in the context of the episode, and yeah, it's definitely hilarious to see all of it go down in a simple game of mini golf, but still, Gravity Falls has managed to attach me to a character and kill them all in the time frame of a minute. I kid you not, the clip is no longer than 60 seconds, and that just goes to show how powerful fictional characters can be on our hearts. Oh, Big Henry. I would like to have a brief moment of silence for our fallen hero.
Oh, you were good, son, real good. Maybe even the best.
Number 6. Brian from Family Guy. Back in 2013, an infamous Family Guy episode aired that would get people talking about the show again. Its title was Life of Brian, and the plot involved the longtime main character Brian dying. It came out of nowhere, mostly because a cartoon like Family Guy didn't dive into these types of subjects too often, and it's assumed that every main character would be absolutely safe until the end of the series. After all, this is a comedy cartoon sitcom, and each person in the family has something new to offer, so there's no reason to kill them off, except for Meg. Nobody really cares what happens to her. But when talking about Brian Griffin, he was always there before, and that would be assumed later on too. Though Life of Brian proved people wrong when they thought this. Someone randomly ran him over, putting him in horrible condition, and he was later declared dead at the vet's office. This was just insane because even though Brian did get worse in the later seasons as a character, seeing him die felt painful to watch. Due to the gruesome nature, fans honestly had no idea what to think. This would change the course of supposedly the entire show, although, as predicted, he was brought back later on by Stewie in time travel. When questioned about his decision to kill off Brian, Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane said that it did what it was designed to do. It reminded people that this is still a show where anything can happen despite the fact it's been on for a while. Okay, I gotta admit, that's not bad reasoning, because getting used to characters does mean that you think they're safe even though they truly aren't, and the Brian death proved that. However, I still do think that this was a complete publicity stunt, because you know that people are going to be talking about the show once something like this happens, and Family Guy needed some higher ratings, so why not just kill off a main character and get lots of new viewers? Number 5. Birdperson from Rick and Morty. Birdperson is a very strange character, but for all the right reasons. He's one of those guys that'll appear on screen and you just think, yeah, Birdperson, what is up, my dude? And then he says some wacky line and you think, what a great guy.
I believe I can access the history of Rick's gun and help you get back to him.
But can you help me get to my family, at my house?
Is your intention to abandon Rick using his own portal gun? In bird culture, this is considered a dick move.
All of Rick's moves are dick moves?
Apparently, he knew Rick for a really long time, and they go way back before the start of the series, so that helped develop his relationship with the characters we see now. Birdperson helped out a few times in Rick and Morty, but his sudden death came in Season 2's finale, The Wedding Squanchers. He and Tammy were getting married with an awesome party that the entire Sanchez family attended, but things got out of hand really quickly when it was revealed that Tammy wasn't who everyone thought. She's actually a member of the Galactic Federation and shoots Birdperson multiple times, killing him instantly. This moment really made me hate you, Tammy. Why do you even exist? You can't just kill Birdperson like that! Anyway, Although this was the end for this amazing bird, he did end up returning as a robot version of his former self called Birdperson. Still, this is a much different character because it's a cyborg and Tammy has complete control over it, so it looks like the old Birdperson is unfortunately long gone. Number 4. Kenny from South Park. South Park is pretty unique in the fact that it kills one of its characters not once, not twice, but more than 100 times. This was Kenny McCormick's main gag as the crew tries to find creative and gruesome ways of killing him differently each time. The deaths have certainly decreased since the earlier seasons, but they still happen every so often. Although most of these times Kenny passes away, he comes back, there was one moment in particular that really changed everything, and it comes from the season 6 episode titled Kenny Dies. However, this episode was completely different in that Kenny didn't come back. The storyline involved him slowly developing a terminal disease, then ending up in the hospital and eventually leaving the world of South Park behind him. Kenny Dies didn't have as many jokes as a typical one, which made it stand out from the rest. Watching it, you probably think that it doesn't matter because, oh, Kenny will return to the next episode, but as the season continued on, it just didn't happen. Stan, Kyle, and Cartman search for new potential 4th members to the group to replace their former friends, and this massively changes the status quo of the show. You may be wondering why exactly Matt Stone and Trey Parker decided to kill Kenny for real, and their reasoning actually makes sense. They got tired of having to think of so many different ways for him to die each episode, and it got really repetitive. They just wanted to take him out of the show entirely because that was his only role. He was just known as the guy who dies all the time. Fans were devastated at this longtime favorite character out of South Park, so Matt and Trey ended up writing Kenny back in. There was no real explanation at the time. Kenny literally just appeared out of nowhere and was alive again. But many seasons later, we would finally get a proper in-series explanation about the reason behind Kenny's deaths, and it was actually really cool. I'm glad that he ended up sticking around, even after the episode where he was planned to stay gone forever. Number 3. Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls.
I know that laugh. Show yourself!
Good old Bill. You know him as a triangle guy on the dollar bill, or you see him in those random YouTube conspiracy videos calling him part of the Illuminati. If you look anywhere online for information about him, there will be people overusing the unfunny joke that he's shaped like a Dorito. But despite his character not being taken too seriously on the surface, Bill is actually really intimidating. He can manipulate anything in the world of dreams and is the main antagonist throughout the entire Gravity Falls story. He will not hesitate to kill whoever stands in his way, plus he burned his entire home dimension just cuz. We got to see what he could really do in the show's final few episodes known as the Weird Mageddon arc, and that's also where he met his end. Of course, since he was a major villain, there's no way he can't die, but the actual method of it happening was insane. It was really hard to go through with the plan to kill Bill Cipher, mostly because he had a ton of knowledge about the world and watched everyone and everything, so he knew what would come next. However, his death comes from Grunkle Stan and his twin brother Ford's classic switcheroo, so one acts like the other, then a deal is made, and Bill goes inside of Stan's head instead of Ford. Nothing is really there, and then a memory eraser to Stan's brain leads to Bill being erased from existence. The flames built up, getting ready to devour both of these characters at the same time. Bill's death scene in particular is absolutely amazing, as every single moment is filled with him begging, panicking, then exploding at the fist of none other than Grunkle Stan.
What's happening to me? The neurons can rip out of their lives to get you Guess I was good for something after all.
Hey yo, Saitama, get over here. Looks like we got a competitor for you. No, but seriously, Bill was the biggest villain in Gravity Falls, and to see him finally go down in this epic way was incredible. Peace could finally be spread around since this dream demon had caused so much destruction in the world, and now it could all be fixed. Stan made a sacrifice to kill Bill and save his entire family, but also lose his memories in the process, proving that he was an incredible character. Although he did regain these memories shortly after, just the fact that he was willing to do this is good enough for me. Seeing him go face to face with the big bad of Gravity Falls leads to maximum hype, and it's just really awesome that he was the one who actually put a stop to Bill once and for all. Number 2. Pops from regular show. This was a really interesting show on Cartoon Network throughout its run, but one of the saddest moments was undoubtedly the series finale. While it was assumed that each and every main character of the Park Gang would make it out alive, that wasn't the case for lovable, good-natured Pops, who decided it would be best to sacrifice himself for the entire universe. Regular show wasn't a stranger to killing off characters. Like, no joke, if you look at the list of deceased people on the wiki, there are tons. However, those were mostly just the one-time villains that appeared and died in the same episode, and when Pop sacrificed himself in the finale, everything changed. He'd been there ever since the beginning of this awesome cartoon, so seeing him go felt like saying goodbye to someone you knew in real life.
Don't worry, Mordecai and Rigby. I know you're sad, but I promise this is a happy ending. Take care of each other. Goodbye.
My God, all those one-star reviews. I wish I could take it all back.
You can try. You and I together, brother.
Guess this is it. If anyone's listening, I want to come back as a dolphin.
Oh, good one. Me too.
Out of all the people, why did it have to be Pops? He was just so innocent and always did what was best for everyone else, being a really funny character at the same time. Of course, the final season revealed that he had a much different past than one would initially think, and that led to an ultimate showdown with Anti-Pops, his evil brother. They were mostly equals in terms of combat in the final episodes, and so if Anti-Pops had to go down, then so did Pops. His sacrifice truly did not go unnoticed by everyone else though, because 25 years later there was a park reunion, and none of it would have been able to happen without him. At the very end of regular show, he's in heaven and calls it a jolly good show. Oh no, anyone have any extra tissues? Number 1, Seymour from Futurama. Let's face it, if you've watched the Futurama episode where Fry's dog died, you knew it was going to be in this video. Why is it number 1, you may ask? Because it's a dog, and those are always the saddest deaths. Jurassic Park still goes down as one of the most devastating cartoon episodes ever because of what happened with Fry and Seymour. This was a dog that would wait outside of Panucci's Pizza all the time for Fry to get off work, then they would hang out and have a great time together. But when Fry suddenly disappeared and got frozen in time, he left this dog behind who ended up waiting for him until his death. Why must you do this to me, Matt Groening? I watch Futurama for laughs, but it does give a nice feels trip every so often, and honestly, this was really hard to watch. What's even worse is that in the future, Fry has the opportunity to revive Seymour, but he doesn't take it because he assumes that Seymour stopped caring about him long ago. If there's someone who ever says that cartoons are for kids only and can't make you sad, you show them this episode and they will never say that again. Seymour, come back!
Think about it. Seymour lived a full life after I was gone. He probably even added new songs to his repertoire.
But that's a good thing. Walking on sunshine sucks noodles.
I had Seymour till he was 3. That's when I knew him, and that's when I loved him. I'll never forget him, but he forgot me a long, long time ago.
Oh, what, you gonna cry? You gonna cry now?
But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.